Changing minds one thought at a time.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Changing Minds Online Inspirational Sunday Night Call. It is a beautiful evening here, and we are so excited. We have an amazing topic for you. Akina, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, and the theme of really the last few weeks for me has been really just working hard on my dreams, on my goals for during the week, and then taking the weekends off to really renew myself. It's a beautiful time of year here on the East Coast of the U.S., and it's just the weather's been phenomenal, and it's really so amazing to be able to take time for yourself and renew yourself. We always say you can't give from an empty well, and as entrepreneurs, I just hope that you're still taking that time because it's so amazing and powerful. And I know, Akina, that you yourself have had a time recently where you've just been doing a ton of work and really just working hard at your job, but it took a toll on you. And I know you had an amazing weekend, and I spoke to you earlier, and you sounded so refreshed. So I'm excited to jump into the call tonight and really talk about, is that paycheck worth giving up your happiness? Is it worth, spending your entire life from that 9 to 5 when you're not doing what it is you were born to do, what you love to do, and really what it is that is going to ultimately make you happy? So why don't you share with us a little bit about what's going on with you?
Oh, well, there comes a time in many people's lives when they are in their purpose, but their purpose starts to grow. And you know you're doing what you need to be doing to fulfill yourself, but then other things and other interests start popping up to where you can truly connect these things. And that is basically where I am now. I am wanting to motivate, empower, and inspire more people than what I'm reaching now. And I love doing what we do here on the radio show, and I want to do that more full time. I want to reach those masses that we reach on the radio show versus, what I could possibly reach just in the classroom. And, it's really, really something I've been thinking about for a while. And now that I have the wonderful technology of Blab and Periscope, is really brought it to the forefront in my mind. I was doing a Periscope the other day, and I was watching all these different people on there, and it seemed like everybody has been on the trend of quitting their jobs to live in their purpose. And they look so refreshed, and they look so renewed, and they look so they just look so happy. And it looks like a big weight is lifted off of them. And while not everybody is meant to be a full-time entrepreneur, these people were. And it really brings thoughts to your mind like, am I all the way in my purpose? Am I doing everything that I could be doing in my purpose? Have I truly tapped that full potential? And, that's kind of what I've been thinking about lately. And, as Jessica says all the time, we share our thoughts and we share our journey on this show. And I guess it's my turn to share the journey this week. But sometimes you just have to look at yourself and say, am I at my fullest potential? Am I giving everything I have to my purpose? Or am I just giving my purpose a piece of what I could be giving it? And everybody needs to really ask themselves that question. And you don't have to stop doing what you're doing. You just do it in a different way, where you are giving more to your purpose than to sidebars, when your job becomes your side hustle and your purpose becomes your main job. That is when you know that you are really where you need to be. What do you think on that, Jessica? I know you've been doing a few things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, for those of you who've been following my story for the last couple months, the last, even couple weeks, earlier this year, I relocated. I know, Akina, you did too. And I really just, I was in a job that I was blessed to have for a long time that supported me financially, that I loved at one point that I stopped really getting excited about. And it got to a point where I really enjoyed to help use, like you said, inspire people and help people, motivate people. And, we're both in the field of education, so that's what we both do, right? That's what teachers really do. But I did get to a point like you, Aquino, where I said, okay, this isn't really what excites me anymore. I still want to teach, and I still want to empower people and inspire people, but I need to be doing it in a different way. And like you, I also wanted a bigger audience. I also knew that I can never really be fulfilled if the people I was reaching was only, for me, I was a one-on-one teacher, so I was only really able to kind of teach a few people at a time. And that's when we started this radio platform, and it was phenomenal. And like you, I really love it. And I'm a professional network marketer, so I have multiple, multiple businesses. I'm a multipreneur. And I loved all those things I was doing. And I was thinking, for a long time, well, wouldn't it be wonderful if I found a way to support myself with my full-time business? But like many people, it was a pipe dream. It was something that I thought about, well, wouldn't this be nice? But I was really afraid to take that step. So I moved. I moved from New York to New Jersey, and I took a different job. This is a job in the field of education. I was working in a classroom, and it was just, for me, one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my entire life in terms of really, I felt like a part of me died every day when I woke up and go to work. I mean, I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't happy in any way being there. And, Akina can tell you that I was just a different person during those months. I mean, there was nothing about it I enjoyed. And I knew that, I had thought, okay, well, I'm working on my purpose part-time. I'm working on my passions part-time. But the truth is, like, darn the things that we care about the most, don't they deserve the best of us and the best of our attention? And I was very fortunate that at the end of the school year, my certifications in New York, and they did not transfer to New Jersey, and I gave up my teaching certifications. I'm not going to actually pursue getting the New Jersey certifications because it's not what I want to do anymore. And I ended my teaching career. After 8 years, I ended it. And when I did, there was a lot of fear around it, and I've shared this before because I didn't have a really solid, steady income stream set up. But Akina, like you say, is you see these people who quit their jobs and they live into their purpose, and they really start to choose that they matter, choose that they actually get to create the life of their dreams and support themselves, not only getting by, but really just being abundant and just having everything they want. And they're doing it by doing what they love. And I said, I want to be one of those people. And the truth is that those people are courageous. They're the people who are doing that, myself. And I know that you're going to be pursuing this too soon, is really, they're people who really crave freedom. You value freedom more than security. You're not free if you're working for someone else. You're not free if your time is your own. If someone's paying you for the hour for your time is theirs. And if you have to ask permission to take a day off of work, you are not free. And for me, I just felt like I was in a prison, like I was in a jail cell. And I often say that my experience being in a classroom, which had been really the most restrictive education position I ever had, because I had always had a degree of freedom working as a one-on-one teacher. I literally felt like I was in a maximum security prison. I said, how can people do this? How can people cubicle? How can people be stuck in a building and we are not allowed to leave? I said, this is crazy. I mean, I said, I'm not a criminal. I didn't commit a crime. Why do I have to stay confined to this space? Why do I need to ask permission to go to the bathroom? I said, I can't live like this. And I knew at that moment I had to really just step out in faith, believe in myself, and say, okay, I'm going to really live in my purpose. And like you, Akina, I'm not going to, give 100% of myself, full time to other people to make their dreams come true. No, I'm going to 100% of the time, full time, I'm going to live into my purpose and make my dreams come true because I matter enough to do that. And the truth is, okay, yes, I had more money. I really did when I was, back working in the job I didn't love. I had a more steady stream of income. I don't know from week to week what I'm going to make because none of my businesses, right, it's the ebb and flow of business. You don't really know. You don't have that security of a salary. So I don't know, okay, from week to week, am I going to make more this week than I made last week? Am I going to make as much this week as last week? I have X number of bills to pay. Will the money come in, or am I going to have to tap into my savings? You don't know that as an entrepreneur, and it can be really, really scary, but it's the most freeing and amazing thing that you can do. I work really hard. Entrepreneurs typically work longer hours than people who are working in a salaried position. The average person working in a salaried position works around 40 hours a week. Maybe somewhere between 40, 45, 50, depending upon your industry that you're in. Well, statistically, entrepreneurs are working more like 50 to 60 hours a week, and sometimes even more. And, for me, I am working easily 50, 60 hours a week, but I love it. And every time that I do it, it's a choice. Everything, everywhere I go, every business decision I make, every place I show up, every podcast that I do, every book we put out, every post on Facebook, every connection, every phone call, it's a choice. I'm doing it because I want to do it. And I'm choosing to be there, not because I have to be there. I'm choosing to have that conversation, not because it's a requirement, but it's because it's what I want to do. And there's something so amazing and powerful and freeing about it. And it's this experience of really just total bliss that I've never had before. And I don't think it could be created from anything different. But when you own your time, when your time is yours, it's like riding a bicycle. You can't. And it's amazing. I'm a triathlete, and it's funny because I'm learning to swim, and I have some amazing friends who've helped me because it's just not my strong point, and I want to do the Ironman in 2017. Those who've been following my journey, I'm doing 30 marathons on my 30th birthday. It's amazing because these people are supporting me. It's amazing people supporting me. Just really want to thank them publicly for all of their support. But I had a friend who wanted to help me learn to swim, and she brought a book for me to teach me how to swim. And then I had another friend of mine who said, okay, you know what? I personally, I don't know much about riding a bike technically. I'm actually really good at it. I can hold a really heavy speed. I'm very, very strong. My muscles and my legs are very strong. My endurance is great, but I don't really know how to change gears. I had a friend of mine who said, okay, I'm going to get you this book about changing gears. And they gave me all these materials to read. And so I can't learn to ride a bike. I can't learn to swim from reading about it. And I can't go onto YouTube and learn how to ride a bike. It's an experience. It's something that's experiential. And it's really the same thing about that freedom that is created when you step out, totally out of your comfort zone. I mean, it's like beyond stepping out of your comfort zone. When you just take that risk, that absolute blind faith that, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's going to happen. I mean, it's just amazing. The feeling of complete and total surrender and total freedom is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's just divine. It's the greatest feeling. I mean, next to really just feeling the love of God, to me, it's the greatest feeling I've ever experienced in my whole life. There's nothing better. And it was so scary. I mean, and I still am scared sometimes, but never let that fear paralyze you because it is just so worth it. And Akina, like you said, I mean, happiness is just, you can't buy happiness. You choose to be happy, and really just choosing yourself and choosing to get out of a job that you don't love. And maybe you don't want to be an entrepreneur, and maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're not an entrepreneur. And that's okay. Not everyone wants to be. And Akina, you said that earlier. And even if that's the case, we want to talk about that too. I mean, it's really about that balance, right? Working, but understanding that, you don't live to work, you work to live. And it's really about just finding happiness and joy, and really just making sure you're carving out time for yourself too. And before we talk about that, Akina, we can move on to that topic, but let's kind of finish this one. I know that for you have gotten to this point recently, and I've had this conversation with you privately and not on air, where I have brought to your attention, and I hope it's okay with me to share this. Like I said, okay, Kina, I feel like you're just not happy right now. I've brought that to you, and I said, what is going on? Why are you not feeling completely satisfied and happy with your life right now? And you did express to me that, that you want to do. What was it that led up to you kind of feeling this way? What emotions were you going through? What was going on in your head? What is going on in your head? Because I know you're processing all this right now, and we we are very transparent on this call, and we take you with us. And you've been with us on this podcast. If you're listening from the beginning, you've been with us from the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. We've taken you to every part of our journey and just being fully transparent and vulnerable. And I want to thank you and really I appreciate that tonight, that you're being so open and vulnerable. What's going on right now in your mind? What are you feeling that's leading up to this point? Because I know someone else is feeling it too.
Wow, Jessica, that is a powerful question. If you are truly developing as an individual, your mind and your thought patterns and your wants are going to change. And while the purpose doesn't change, the expansion of the purpose changes, if that makes sense. And my purpose in life is to educate, motivate, and inspire. And while I was on a campus, I was doing all three of those things. I had people that I saw every day. I interacted. I did conferences. I did all of these things. Well, when I shifted to my new job, I really stopped doing all of that and I had a different focus. And I missed that. And after 2 years, it's clear that I need that in my life. And I could feel it in my weight loss. I could feel it in my mannerisms. I could feel it in my day-to-day interaction. And when you get to the point where you know that there is time for change, there's time for a reinvention, you have to go with the flow. And now is my time for reinvention. I am going back to my love, which is being with the people and motivating the people and inspiring the people. And including our podcast, teaching more on ground, things of that nature. I'm going to get out and put the message out the way it needs to be put out, and not only through social media. I'm going to go out and be with the people, and that's what I've realized that I need to do. That's part of the purpose. And when that happens in your mind, especially when you've been doing this for so long, it's a initial shock. And then it's like, what am I going to do now? And then you get to the point where it is that paycheck worth my happiness? And that's the reason why we titled this show this way today. Because that's a question you have to ask yourself. Because a lot of times people changing jobs, they may lose money. It is what it is. And they have to realize if it's okay for them to lose that money. Are they all right with losing that money? And is it going to stop because you lost the money? No. Are you going to recover once you lose the money? Yes. But the question is, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I never really look at it too. And I just want to throw it out there. I never really look at it myself as losing money. For me, I believe I found money, and it's on its way. And for me, yes, I temporarily discontinued a stable income, but I did it because for me, JOB, like it is just over broke is what it stands for. I would have never, ever lived into my full potential of what I can create income-wise if I would have been, stayed working as a full-time teacher. My salary might have increased a little bit over the course of my career, but the truth is that there was a cap. And now I know that there's no cap. And even though I temporarily discontinued a stable full-time income, I know that the reward for this time is going to be absolutely phenomenal, and that later I'm going to look back at this and say, oh my goodness, if I believe that in a few years from now, I'm going to look back and say, okay, that time I put in when I quit that job, that's going to be worth thousands of dollars per hour later. And that's how I want you to look at it, is not that you are, losing money, but that you're temporarily discontinuing your income to find more money later. I mean, and just know that it's not about, we don't want you to quit your job and to take a different job making less and just settling. That's not what it's about. It's about knowing that you can prosper in a way and thrive in a way that you never have before, doing what you love. And it'll take a while to get there because it's a process and it's work. And it certainly is still is a job. It's a different type of job, but you still need to really be dedicated to it. It's going to take a lot from you. It's a requirement that you put the time in, that you really put that equity in, that you do it. It still is a dedication. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to take a lot of effort, but that it's possible. That it's possible you can do even better than you're doing now in just a few short years if you're willing to put the time and effort in. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I mean, I'm just speaking on the level of what people are thinking initially, that initial, oh my goodness, feeling, and then, of course, you followed in with that feeling of after the fact, now that we are on the road. And that's what people really need to hear, Yes, you may have those feelings about, oh my, OMG, but at the end of the day, every sacrifice that I ever made came out for the good. And, sacrifices are just that. They just they're just that little time that you need to polish to become that diamond that you really need to be. During that sacrificing time, you're turning that piece of coal into the diamond that you needed to be so that you can hit your greater. And that's all that is. And yes, you have to struggle, but of course, like we know that coal is pressed, and it's pressed until and then it's shined, and then it's buffed, and it's buffed, and then it becomes that diamond. Well, that's that sacrifice time. You're being pressed and you're being buffed so that you can go out and get that abundance that you need. And that is all that I was bringing it to, because, yes, you're going to have that OMG moment, but that one OMG moment is going to be a flicker in your lifetime compared to the abundance that's going to come once you're in your purpose, doing what you're supposed to be doing. Does that make sense, Jessica?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it really is. And like you said, it's a short term, it's a sacrifice. There's an amazing quote, and I honestly forget who said it, but it says, if I do, an entrepreneur does for a little while what people won't, so they can do later what others can't. And that's really what it comes down to, is it's are you willing to do it now so you can reap the benefits later? I mean, it's like, if you look at, biblically, it talks about like the parable of the sower, right? Every time you plant a seed, eventually you will have a harvest. And it's, for some people, depending upon your skills, depending upon what you want, sometimes it can take a long time for that harvest to come, but it will be so incredibly worth it. And is it worth it for you? Is it worth it to plant those seeds and really just have ultimate happiness? Or are you going to continue doing something that you don't love for the rest of your life? I think that my greatest kind of, I know, regret, but for me, the worst thing I think could ever happen to me, and I don't want to say fear or regret, because it's not a fear, and it was scary, but I overcame it and I did it. But for me, if you ask me what's the worst thing that could ever happen in your life, the worst thing that could ever happen for me would be to be on my deathbed and say, what if I would have tried? That is something I never, ever want to say or experience. If there's something that I want, I'm just going to go after it. And if I don't get it, and if I don't make it, I at least know that I gave everything that I had to make it come true. And I can know that I did what I could to live into my purpose. And the feeling of that is amazing and gratifying. Just knowing that you did everything you could to make every dream of yours come true. Live in the moment, to be, at complete peace with who you are. If you're doing everything you can to reach your goals, you will always be happy. I mean, the happiness comes from when we're not feeling fulfilled. If you're not really living in your purpose, if you're not giving the best of yourself to make your dreams come true, there's going to be a part of you that always wants, a part of you that's always lacks, But true abundance is believing with 100% faith and going after everything that you want, no matter how crazy it sounds, no matter how insane it may seem, no matter how many people tell you that you can't or that you shouldn't or that you couldn't. I mean, it's like it's amazing. I mean, and that's why, I just love to hear the stories of athletes who do amazing things with their bodies that people think they shouldn't be able to do, and they do it and they're successful. But it's one of those things where, for me, I'd rather do and die trying than to die without ever trying. I mean, it's just one of those things for me. And that's the choice that I made for myself, is that nothing in the world is worth giving up that happiness. Because as long as you are living in your purpose and you're working on your dreams, you will always be happy. I believe and I declare over everyone listening to this call that everyone who really gives 100% of their dreams and goals will make them come true. But even if you didn't, you will still be happy. You will be happy on every step of the way. You'll have your moments, where we all have our moments, but you'll be happy and you'll feel fulfilled and blessed knowing that you lived into your greatest purpose. That's, for me, how I live my life every day, is, okay, how can I be happy? Is this going to make my goals come true? And I do it, and I do it only if the answer is yes to both of those questions. Akina, what do you think? I know it's about almost time to close down our show, but what kind of final advice on that topic can you give to our audience?
If you find yourself in this spot where you are ready to start thinking that it may be time to separate, truly think about it. Think about the pros and the cons. Make sure that you are doing it for you and it's something that you want to do and you're ready to live in your purpose. It's not like they say, there's no job security anymore. There's no job security, and we have to make our own way, and it's best that we live in our own purpose than in somebody else's purpose. And, not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur, but maybe you're supposed to be in a different field than you are. And you've always been dreaming about that field, and you just never went and got it. What's stopping you from going to get it now? Now is your time. So we're here to love and support you. If you need that support, we both understand what you're going through, both been there ourselves. So just think about it, pray on it, and let him lead you. Jessica?
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you're listening to this call tonight and you're saying, that's me, but I'm so scared, reach out to us. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com, Changing Minds Online. Email us, contact us at changingmindsonline.com. We'll answer that message. Just let us know. And we know what courage it takes, because we did both do it. And it was just life-altering. It was the scariest thing I've ever done. But it is freeing. And I just want everyone to experience that. Everyone, if you desire that, I want you to have it. So please reach out to us if this touched you in any way and you're in that position. I did say earlier in the call, we get to the topic of really just working so much to the point that you're not enjoying your life. And we can't cover that now because we're just about out of time. But I will cover that next week. So the next week, our topic, I'll just tell you for next Sunday, is going to be, just really, are you living to work? Are you working to live? And we'll cover that next week for anyone who's listening and who maybe isn't a full-time entrepreneur, but wants to learn a little bit about balance and how to really enjoy your life and make sure that you're putting yourself first, even in pursuing your goals. And entrepreneurs, we're at the biggest risk of really just completely going after our goals and putting our business there without really just focusing on us. So we'll talk about that too. But, on that note, thank you, Akina, for being so vulnerable tonight and just being on, so open with your heart. And you have such a tremendous heart. It's amazing to really just to work with you and to watch you grow and develop and transform. And I know we both we both inspire and we're always in awe of each other. So I love you. To everyone calling in tonight, we love you. We want you to really just have everything that you want, and we believe in you. We believe you can. On that note, if you want to find this podcast again, it'll be on changingmindsonline.com, on Blog Talk Radio. It'll be on YouTube, and it is on iTunes, and I believe Stitcher as well. So, on that note, God bless. Make it a really, really powerful week. We'll be excited to be with you Thursday. On Thursday, I will be in beautiful Southern California for a celebration event for my network marketing company. So I will be recording from a beach in California. So I'm excited about that. But on that note, everyone, God bless. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Good night, Akina.
Good night, Jessica. And good night, everyone.